Hi, everybody. Good morning. It's me, Albatross. How's everybody doing this morning? Well, I did want to make some of my own comments about, not in particularly P. Diddy, but one of his victims who we all thought was going to be testifying, who come to find out is not testifying, as a matter of fact, Gina Hahn. And although it might be easy to criticize and judge this woman at first, the more I think about it, the more I totally understand. Like, why she's like, F you all. I ain't helping making your job easier for you whatsoever. Because you gotta think about something. Like, Gina Hahn came out years before Cassie did. Like, what, 4 years or something before Cassie did? She did an open air interview and everything. And I just think it's odd that it took Cassie's settled lawsuit for them to actually look into it. Like, why did it take them all those years to look into it? So, now that they're suddenly interested in justice and all this and that, I mean, I can kind of understand why, like, I mean, who knows? Maybe she is being paid by Diddy. I don't know. I'm just thinking about it if it were me. If it were me and I'd been talking about this for years and then you didn't want to do or believe me until someone else comes out, then I'd be like, F you all. Like, I've been talking about this. I've been talking about this. You all just now, just because, like, people are starting to put some heat on you, you just now want to investigate. Maybe now that you're not making money off of it. Who knows? Because let's not pretend like the New York justice system suddenly just wants justice for these women. I mean, are we all really that naive to believe that? That this was ever about justice? No, it's because P. Diddy turned into a liability for the people in power. That's what happened. That's what happened. He turned into a liability. Now, as far as the timing of Cassie filing her lawsuit and all. Now, listen, I don't know. I don't know anything about the girl. I really don't. I really don't. About the timing of it, why they suddenly listened. Who knows? I mean, like, these are the games that these people like to play. That's why I say, like, like Virginia Giuffre, for example. Like, her husband was such a great support system until he wasn't. Now, hopefully Cassie's husband isn't a double agent. I really hope not. But, like, if it's the CIA and MK Ultra, those are the games they like to play. They'll send, like, an agent who's like your savior to save you from the situation, just to further ruin that trust. To keep you from ever trusting anybody. These are the games they like to play. So, and I really hope that that's not what they're doing with Cassie. I really hope not. But listen, I'm just saying, don't be shocked if it happens. I really hope not. Because these women have children with these men. You know what I mean? Virginia has children with that man who supposedly beat her. Like I said, I don't know about all that. I really don't. I'm waiting to hear more from honestly, I'm not going to believe anything until I hear it directly from Virginia's children at this point. Because it's hard to know, really. So, I'm just going to leave that at that. But, like, as far as Cassie, I really hope that he's not. And that... But it is weird how she met him. She didn't meet her husband through Diddy. So these are just things to keep in mind, guys. This is why I don't really like to talk about these things. Because it gets people upset. And I'm just saying, like, their tactics are getting old. and stale. And like I said, I hope I'm wrong, but like, okay, this is all my personal opinion, but like, personal opinion, I think like someone as big, like, I don't think you can get as big as P. Diddy was without getting the blessing or okay from the CIA. That's just my opinion. They control the narrative. Let's not pretend like they don't. They've always controlled the narrative. They control what's popular because that's been their whole point is to. Oh, I missed that tweet. But their whole point is to have as much control as possible over the population. So they use like people in Diddy's position. Like, I don't think you can get to that position without them having total control over you. I don't think you can. And like I said, that's just my opinion. Maybe it's possible. Maybe you can. But that's just my opinion. So, with all that said, I want people to keep manage their expectations. Listen to me. It would be nice if people manage their expectations a little bit as far as this P. Diddy trial. Be careful who you automatically assume who's the good guy in all this and who's the bad guy on either side. Because, like I said, there's a reason that they waited this long. There's a reason he got by with this for so long. And it was and like, come on. Is anybody truly shocked about some of this behavior? Maybe some of it, yeah. But like, just look at their whole persona throughout all the years. Like, the things that they used to brag about. The things they bragged they got away with. This has been going on for years. The nightclub shooting. All of it. Like, all of it that he's gotten away with. And now, suddenly, he's getting his justice? Like, maybe. I'm just saying, it seems like a big performative act to me. Like, either that or they just had no choice and they had to bring him down. Which, no, I don't believe that either. Because there's many times in history where we all knew he was guilty. Like, where like, the whole public just generally knew it. You know what I mean? Like, when Kim Porter died. Like, I mean, come on. Tell me that. Like, come on. I'm not even gonna go into that. Like, just look up Kim Porter's death. Look at who was there when she died. Look at all of that stuff. And tell me that something doesn't smell funky as shit. You know what I mean? So all this evidence that they're pulling out on Diddy, I believe they've always known about it. They've always had it, or they always knew how to get it. But the CIA wouldn't let them do it yet. For some reason, the CIA is letting them now. Maybe it's to keep the heat off them. Maybe this is personal opinion. The reason I think so many celebrities right now are getting exposed, it's so the CIA can hide their own hands. It's like whenever the trail starts to lead back to them, they give us another celebrity. We start to follow that trail. They give us another one, and they're just going to keep throwing them out until they can get rid of as much evidence on them as possible. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. Which is why I don't think we should wait for the president to dismantle the CIA. They're just going to keep hiding their hands over and over. We need to sign this petition, get them out of here, get rid of their influence, get rid of it. And not only that, I might even like revise this petition. Like, I don't know, because like I feel like if we maybe like, what if this petition like all goes through, all goes smooth, they get rid of the CIA, but then what if another shadow government just pops up out of nowhere, and then the FBI will be the next CIA? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there needs to be something like maybe like a jury, like a citizen's jury every now and then to keep everyone honest, to keep everyone on the right track of justice and not corruption. Like, that's just my opinion. Like, if you keep letting agencies like the CIA and FBI hold themselves accountable, it's never going to work. It's never going to work. Because they're never going to admit to wrong because of how it'll look. It's like it never made sense to me. Like, it's kind of like how the human resources person, the person who's supposed to have your back, their paycheck is coming from the people who they're supposed to defend you from. Like, it's kind of like that situation. Like, it just doesn't work at the end of the day. It doesn't work. Trust me, I work for a company that went through like 5 human resources people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't work. When a company's got to hold themselves accountable, or an organization's got to hold themselves accountable, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. That's why I feel like, just like we get random juries for when us citizens mess up, we should get random juries for when the government messes up, and not their own people, their own inspector generals. Like, come on. That doesn't work. You all notice that the same guy who had the most to gain from JFK dying was the same one investigating his death in Congress. Like, it doesn't work. And that's a big flaw in our system that I think we all need to come to terms with. In fact, I might redraft a whole another petition around that. I don't know, because like the one I did is not getting as much traction as I thought. Even with all these crimes that they've done, it's like people still, for whatever reason, feel more safe to have the CIA than not, even though they know what they're doing. Like, why? Why? Like, someone I know, I asked the other day, like, I said, do you think that the CIA has our interest at heart? They're like, no. Like, do you think that they're capable of that kind of evil, of like assassinating presidents and all this and that and the other? Yeah, I do believe they're capable. Okay. You want to sign this petition to defund and dismantle them? No. It's like, what? No? No. Because we still need them. That's what they said. That's what they said to me. That's how brainwashed we are. Like, I just couldn't believe it. But to me, it answered the question of why it wasn't getting any traction. Because so many people have seen this petition, but like only, 17 signatures on it. But I get it now. It's because people do know that it's happening, that they're capable of this. For some reason, they're holding out that hope in their heart that they're going to protect them at the end of the day. Because we've been brainwashed to think that they would. Even though they never have. And they've killed more people than, oh my God, probably terrorists have. Like, I just couldn't believe it. How brainwashed this person that I'm speaking of is. And this person that I'm speaking of, I looked up to a lot. Had a lot of respect for their intelligence and their logic. And they're that brainwashed. I couldn't believe it. So, I'm trying to think of a way to... I don't know. I might have to draft a whole other petition. Because I just don't... How could you ever trust that an organization whose very root and foundation was like control and secrecy, that was like their foundation from the beginning, with such a rotten foundation, why would we ever think they had our best interest? I don't get that. Like, the CIA, right? And when it started, like, because I looked into this a lot, when it started, it was under a whole different branch that was supposed to be temporary during World War II, right? It was supposed to be a temporary thing, like just while we were in war. And the CIA actually popped up because of Truman wanted an agency to report to him directly, daily. Just him, just the president, right? But that's not what ended up happening. Like, even from the very beginning, they were keeping secrets from him. Like, and the reason it came up, if I'm not mistaken, the organization that came up with the CIA, the one before that, the OSS, the reason they came up was because of the competing secrecy between, like, the Navy, the FBI. Like, there was a lot of competing secrecy, and things ended up going down without the president even knowing that it was going to happen. So that's why that they did what they did. But, like, it's evolved so differently now that, like, the CIA, they're not accountable to anyone. They're not accountable to the president. They sit there and lie to Congress, straight in their faces, lie. And we still got to fund it all. We still got to fund it all. But even knowing all this is not enough for people to sign it. So I'm trying to think of a better one. Let me know if you guys have any ideas. I was astounded that that wasn't enough right there for someone to sign it. I don't understand it. But people aren't signing it, and the longer that this petition is up not being signed, the more uncomfortable I feel about it. Because how do I know the CIA? They literally said that they would kill anybody, civilian or otherwise, killed anybody that they believed threatened the U.S. And that's a very vague statement. They could consider themselves as a very representation of the U.S. And if they consider someone like me a threat, just for having a petition like that, like, I don't know. I'd feel a lot more comfortable if more people signed it, but they're not. So, I don't know what to do. Just draft a whole nother one? Like, ugh. I don't know. But yeah, so, anybody watching this, if you're all tired of this, if you're tired of the celebrities ruling the world, tired of the P. Diddy's, tired of all of that, that's all directly connected to the CIA. That's just one little tiny itty bitty part of it. One little part of it. One little part. The CIA, their tentacles are so deep. And not just in our country, in, like, all the countries. Like, all the other countries should have an interest in this and getting rid of them. And I know every other country has their own version of it, but, like, I'm talking specifically about my country's version because I know what they're capable of. They've done some hideous things to society, not just here, but abroad, all over the world. They have wreaked havoc for years, for decades. Started civil wars, assassinated leaders, blackmailed leaders. Like, they're horrible. And they need to go. They need to go. So if we have any ideas on how to, like, reword this petition so that people sign it and understand that it's in everyone's best interest to get rid of these fucks, I'm all ears. Oh, by the way, since I do have this petition up, it's important to note I am not suicidal in any way. I will never, ever, ever hurt myself in any way. And I'm a very careful driver. I'm a very capable driver. I'm very capable at everyday life. So there's all that. If I covered it all. Yeah, I don't do drugs. What else? I don't drink. I don't do any of that. Not saying I'm better than it, because I used to once upon a time. Let's all be honest. You know, I used to do stuff like that once upon a time, but I do not anymore, and nor will I ever again. I've grown way beyond all that. What else? Never been suicidal, never will be. What else? Though yes, I think like most Americans have struggled with depression, but I do not think that should automatically make people assume that if something happens to someone who struggled with depression that they kill themselves. Because I mean, people struggle with depression every day and never even once have that thought of hurting themselves. I'm one of them. I'm one of them. I don't care how depressed I've ever gotten. That's never been an option to me. Ever. Because as bad as things can get, it's better than to be dead, in my opinion. So, getting that clear. Never would hurt myself. Never will. Ever. So, yeah. Gotta mention those things because, you know how the CIA do. They're very clever at making it look like that. Very clever. Even though they're sloppy, they're for whatever reason being given the grace to regroup. So, okay. Anybody has any ideas on how to reword this petition so people will actually sign it and we can start to move on to this supposed golden age that's supposed to be coming, but that never will as long as they keep messing with us and dumping their chemicals everywhere and lying and like hiding behind, like throwing their lapdogs in our faces so that we're always distracted from the real issues. Yeah, I'm open to suggestions. Thank you. Thanks for listening. Have a good day.